All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Keyboard Warriors episode 75. It is a fucking Wednesday night. And if you can see the squares on the bottom, that is not a figment of imagination. The one and only Aaron Robbins has returned. Sir, it's been a while. It's been a while. How you been?
I have been just fine. How have you guys been?
Pretty good, man. Can't complain. And of course, Fred Kirby out of Ohio. Let's just go hit right with the breaking news. Dominic Cruz out with a broken arm, and Frankie Edgar out with a broken face. It's all falling apart.
Did you hear about this, Aaron?
Yeah, dude, I didn't expect. Dominic Cruz is more fragile than Italian crystal. It's the most ridiculous thing. I knew he made it to what? One healthy fight, right? Against Cody Garbrandt. He actually made two.
What was TJ, right? Was it TJ and Cody that he did in succession? Or was he hurt in between those two?
Yeah, didn't he get kind of hurt in between those two fights?
Maybe.
I'll tell you what, that fucking guy's delicate. I think he should probably just stick to the earpiece and the talking.
All right, well, there you go. Well, actually, he's been doing
Jesus was here briefly.
Oh, what the fuck happened?
He just got mugged for his van in Compton.
It said do Jesus, and then do I'm out. That is the end.
He said, "Fuck this shit." All right, so
you guys did warn him that I would be on the show, right? That wasn't why he left.
I think he knows, right? He knows. Oh, there he is.
There.
Did you find a good Starbucks spot there, Jesse? Jesse?
Apparently not.
Yeah, can you hear?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so Jesse's here now. Jesse, you heard about Frankie Edgar and Dominic Cruz?
No, I've been just too busy with other stuff. I just saw that tweet you put out for all of us. So no, I haven't followed up on anything on.
All right, Frankie broke his face and Dominic broke his arm.
Damn, Jesse.
How did that happen?
Look alive, dog. Did you just snort a Xanax? You sound nice and quiet.
My bad.
Oh, I didn't see none of that.
Hey, I'm not about wearing a tinfoil hat or conspiracies or nothing, but Dominic Cruz broke his arm. Frankie Edgar's face is broken. There might be some collusion.
You're right. Oh, hey, I think it's how to be training together that day. All right. So that'd be a fucking hell of a fucking coincidence, I guess. So Fred, we were talking before the show started about what you do with Holloway. A lot of people calling for Cub Swanson. Ricardo Lamas wants to fight. A lot of guys stepping up. I like the Cub Swanson thing because Cub Swanson's fighting on the 9th anyway, December. What are you thinking?
Cub Swanson's literally the only option. I don't love that option, but I mean, Ricardo Lamas can sit down and take a number. He ain't getting that fucking fight. What are you gonna do? I mean, really, honestly, Dominic Cruz, what the fuck, man? It don't even surprise me no more that he's hurt. Like you know what I mean? It's like that thing where it happens so much. You're just like, oh, of course he is. Fucking course he is. That almost don't even bug me. Of course he is. But Frankie, on the other hand, this was the fight. We needed this fight at 45. There's really no other fight to be made. And, you know, this one stings because I don't know what you're going to do. I mean, like I said, I guess you could do that fight, but it's better than him not fighting, though. I don't know. It's a bummer that Frankie, what the fuck happened to his face? What do you mean he's going to have facial surgery? What the fuck does that mean? What happened?
That's what I saw on Twitter.
I seen that too, but it's pretty vague. He has to have facial surgery? What, do you get a fucking ringworm on his cheek? What's that mean?
That usually means some kind of like fracture in the face. You ever seen basketball players and football players get it, but
I'll tell you what, if Gray Maynard didn't break his face, I want to know what broke his face during training.
Well, right. I mean, to where he has to have surgery? Like, I mean, I guess anything can happen, but that all seems a little fucked.
It's a lot fucked. We're already holding up the 145-pound division forever, right? And what was everybody calling for when Conor was in the mix? Frankie Edgar. So if Edgar takes it away from Max Holloway, which I doubt he would, let's just put it that way. If that fight did happen, I was going to go Max Holloway 100% because Frankie Edgar does perpetually struggle with long, lanky guys. And so I think it would have been a moot point. But it's the fight that finally solidifies as the champ and then gives the absent champ no choice but to come back and to fight that, right? If he wanted to go to 145, or if he wants to stay at 155, we have to have that definitive fight between Khabib and we were talking about this earlier, Fred. It's Khabib and Ferguson, right? No, Khabib and who?
Barboza for now, but I mean, we would need Conor and Ferguson.
Right. If that's what he decides to do, is come back at 155, and then the fight with Frankie would solidify Max, no question whatsoever. He's the 145 king, and we can move on from it, right?
Right. And real quick, I just saw Frank Yeager actually posted on his Instagram about 2 hours ago with hit with a minor setback, but should be back to full contact in 6 weeks or so. Thanks to the UFC for always having my back. Max, I'll see you down the road. #believe. And it's him and just like 8 plates of food in front of him. So he said, "Fuck it, I'm out." Started eating like a motherfucker.
It's him with 8 plates of food in front of him.
It's a bunch of, you see it?
What was the fucking hashtag?
#believe.
#believe these nuts, Frankie. You just fucked me. Have fun eating your fucking early Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
You little wop.
Yeah, I'm trying to find out if there's. Oh, okay, so that
was a fucking racial slur I just said. Wasn't it a fucking wop? That'll get us some hot water. Maybe that'll get some fucking views on this.
Aaron, no joke. Every time one of us says something fucked up, all I remember is you saying fag or something like that with a smiling ass face on the fucking.
I know. I've been trying to get on a list since then, but fucking nothing.
I tell you what, that was just the perfect storm, and I don't even remember what we were talking about, but I'm quite sure it wasn't a homophobic slur. I just let the fag word slip like you do on a playground or something like.
You know what's hilarious about this is that was a long time ago, and we still are hearing this in the news. Jorge Masvidal got called out for using the calling somebody a fag, and then Conor McGregor. So this has been a big thing. Quickly before we go into this, I know this is just a side rant, but what do you guys think about that? Should the UFC have the right to fine guys for calling somebody a faggot? Okay, 2 things to that. A, we know that most people, including you, Aaron, wasn't using it as a homophobic slur. So that's A, that. But B, just to play devil's advocate for the sake of argument, say I'm a hardcore Christian, and I think you're a cocksucking faggot, and I think it's disgusting. Am I not allowed to have that opinion? Obviously, we all find that opinion repulsive, but goddamn, you gonna fine me?
Okay, so I think really what it boils down to is, like I said, on the playground, right? It's so pervasive. When we were boys, like little boys, I don't mean like we're boys, like we're friends. We're not all the same age, but I mean close enough to say that. When you were growing up, when you called your buddy that, no one was implying sexual identity or gender. It was just something to throw out there. Do you know what I mean? Just like I'm sure there's a lot of racial slurs that get thrown out by white guys when they're playing Xbox 360. And it's not because they don't like black guys.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just one of those go-to words. Not that it's right or that it's wrong. This is a fight game. Bunch of testosterone-driven tough guys wanting to make somebody else feel little for a little while. Yeah, you're fag.
Well,
yeah, okay.
It's the thing for like an alpha male to say to another alpha male. I equate it to calling a female a cunt, right? It stings, right? Like if you're a straight male, me calling you a faggot implies that you like sucking cocks or taking it in the ass. Straight men don't like that implication. Now, I realize how if you're a gay man, you still kind of take that offensively. Like, basically, you think we're all just a bunch of lily sissies. Like, you took the word that means us and equate it to basically sissy bitch.
Right, because Fred and I have talked about this. There are closeted gays in the UFC.
When it beat the fuck out of all 3 of us.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. When it comes to head and they finally are like with the women coming out and being like, yep, I'm out in the open. Who cares? I don't care about your sexuality or gender identity or anything like this. When Taylor Latest finally comes out of the closet and says that he's gay and finally admits it,
I was going to say, we don't got no fucking sponsors. We ain't getting sponsored by nobody. So let's have some fun. You're absolutely right. By the numbers alone, there's fucking 300-400 guys in the UFC. One of them has got to be a homosexual.
No,
if you had to pick one guy, who is the gay guy in the UFC right now that's hiding it? Because it'll come out after their career. Who's hiding it right now? Who's the gay UFC fighter? GSP.
Whoa! Hey, come on now. He's 37 years old. He's got no kids. Never really been linked to a female. The guy is pretty as all hell, right? Women love him. Good physique, never been linked to a woman, has no kids, 37 years old. That's a little fishy.
How dope would that be if the greatest of all time was gay? How big of a win would that be for the gays? Holy shit. GSP's got my pick too.
Dude, holy shit. You know, and the thing is, I only laugh because, like, I could see as soon as Aaron said GSP, everything Aaron said afterwards was like immediate, like, oh shit, never seen him with a chick, no kids, oh fuck. Like,
no wife. He is like
no
getting
wife,
a little long in the tooth.
Right.
Yeah, he goes,
and I'll tell you what, that dude could literally walk into any room and be like, hello, ladies, I am GSP. And be like, oh my God, look at your abs in them tight white shorts.
Listen.
Yeah, he's like,
You get enough tequila sours in me, and I'd give GSP some pussy.
yeah, I gotta tell you, he's a good looking dude. Speaking of that, let's rope this in a little bit, and we're doing 217, right?
Wait, before we do that, the comments got really good.
Oh.
So YouTube comment, shout out to UC, John Smith, Raider, Joey Tremendous, everybody's here. It's getting fucking good. So first of all, you know, the people were asking, I wonder what Reebok has to say about the whole fag thing. And Joey says, fuck what Reebok thinks about it. They're barely paying. And then everyone's literally just laughing.
Besides that, only fags wear Reeboks.
Oh, hey, Reebok, make that a shirt, motherfuckers. Shit. John Smith, can a lizard be gay? What?
Probably.
Now they're throwing out names. Sage Northcutt. Fucking.
Oh, there's a good one.
Hey, you never know. All right, now let's rope it in a little bit. All right, yeah, UFC 217. I know your friend and I, we did the post-fight show, and everybody was, you know, me, you, and Ash and Jeremiah. So, Aaron, you got to see the whole pay-per-view, right?
Yeah.
What was your thoughts on the overall event, and what was the biggest surprise out of that whole thing?
Well, the event, in my opinion, now people are saying best ever. I doubt that. I mean, I've watched a lot of events and I don't know what the best ever is, but I will say that 217 struck me as the best card that held together in 2017 for sure. All the big fights were there. None of the 3 title fights dropped out. And what was the biggest surprise? Well, I'd say that we had 3 title fights and all the current champions lost. And not only lost, but lost definitively. No bullshit disqualifications. You know, definitive losses, knockout, chokeout. You know what I mean? But I would have to say, okay, first, the biggest surprise, Rose Namajunas having the punching power to actually stop Joanna Champion with strikes. And then GSP fighting like he did back 9 years ago against Jay Heron with the spinning back kicks and actual aggression and looking like he wanted to stop a fight and not just win on points.
Okay, hold on. Seriously. All bullshit aside, over or under on GSP actually being on steroids for this fight? Because I don't know why or how he came out that aggressive. I mean, I really don't. We were talking about this earlier, Aaron. Hey, seriously. You got to go back fucking damn near a decade to find this aggressive of a GSP. Did the sports fucking psychologist pay off? Did the time off make him fucking turn into Vanderlei Silva? I mean, he literally threw a fucking spinning fucking heel kick. When is the last time you seen GSP do that in a fight? I got no answers for it. I mean, I know I picked Bisping going into this fight, so I'm not trying to save face. I don't give a shit. I pick fights wrong all the time. I don't claim to know fuck all about predicting fights. Shit happens. But I wouldn't think he would have fucking came out like that and been thunder striking the fuck out of him. I mean, yeah, he gassed a little bit, but all things considered, for being out 4 years, moving up a weight class, having fucking shaking ass Freddie Roach in his corner. Fuck does Freddie Roach know about MMA? I mean, yeah, he's a boxing coach. He barely knows where he's at half the fucking time. Freddie Roach is a fucking dinosaur.
I'll tell you what, it is that level of aggression that was surprising. We were talking about pride before the show. Right now, we've lost soccer kicks, knees to a downed opponent, and stomps, right? Which is arguably a good or a bad thing. I don't know, right? But I have a feeling that in this post-USADA world, you know, it's not Mark Kerr on steroids and meth. Even if we had him, they'd be held back, right? So my measure of whether somebody needs to be piss tested immediately is usually unusual levels of aggression, right? Like that fucking Brazilian we'll talk about in a little bit, who's obviously on steroids. But that was the thing. At 37 years old, 4 years off, he took the fight to Bisping harder than he has taken the fight to anyone since what, Matt Hughes?
Literally.
Yeah.
That's a long time ago.
Tell you what, if he actually is not on steroids, then I got to hand it to GSP. That cute cocksucker came in and shocked the fuck out of me. He looked good. He looked aggressive. I mean, I've heard people be like, he kind of looked like shit and he looked a little slow and blah, blah, blah. Hey, whatever, man. Say what you want. He fucking just starched Bisping. I mean, he had a little bit of trouble there for a minute, but for the most part, he controlled that fight, you know?
All right, guys. I'll be back as soon as I can. I'm going to hop on the computer.
All right, cool.
So
Bye.
here's a few comments here on the YouTube. Raider says, I made all my picks on the undercard, but I lost GSP and Game Bread. UC thinks, he goes, GSP on steroids for sure with capital letters. Here's one, though. Joey says GSP had to come out aggressive because his cardio was shit, so he needed to finish the fight quickly. No steroids, I don't think.
I mean, yeah, maybe, man, but you just have to, you know, possibly. But, you know, if you've been watching this fucking sport for a long time, you've watched the progression of what happened to GSP. After he got knocked out by Matt Serra, GSP adopted a very, very different game plan to his fucking fighting and his strategy, and it was very risk averse. This was not that at all.
Yeah.
Even knowing that his gas tank was shot, I felt like he would have been reluctant to get in a fucking firefight with Michael Bisping like that. But I mean, fuck what I thought. He fucking did, and he won. So
yeah, no, I mean, I think it's possible that he knew he had to finish Bisping early in order to have a shot, because he was slowing down hard. Like, he was slowing down pretty hard, and you know, Bisping going forever, and he knows that too. So.
Yeah, but GSP never gassed.
It depends on who you ask. Did you guys watch Bad Guy Incorporated, whatever it is, with Chael Sonnen?
Yeah,
I haven't seen it since then.
It's on YouTube, right?
Oh, you talking about when he said that GSP was stronger than Mike?
Yeah.
Well, but he said he didn't see a guy who was slowing down or gassing. He saw a guy that got a knockdown and conserved energy.
Ah, yeah, true.
Well, now I remember. Chael mentioned that that GSP knows what he has to do in order to, you know, he's like, all right, I'm gonna win the first round. I can take the second off, come back hard in the third, win that round. So he knows how to win rounds.
But yeah, that's what he said. He said that this guy is arguably the master at winning 5-round contests. So after you've secured a knockdown and a takedown, you don't have to look good for the rest of the round unless the other guy catches up to you. If not, then fuck it, conserve some energy, because you are carrying around that extra 15 pounds of horse meat.
Of ovary meat.
All right, let's stop pussyfooting around now. Whether we like it or not, or whether he cheated or not, the cocksucker won the fight. What do we think he's going to do, and what do we want to see GSP do next?
What do I think he's going to do?
And what do you want to see him do? Yeah, do you think he stays at 85 and fights Whitaker? Do you think he goes to 70 and fights Woodley? Or the big humdinger, you think they say fuck it and throw him and C-Mac in there and take the money and run?
I don't know.
So listen, okay, I tell you what I want. What I would like to see is him fight Whitaker, because I think it's only fucking right. And plus I think Whitaker is a guy that's remotely his size. He used to fight at 70. Whitaker is not one of these gargantuan middleweights like fucking Weidman or Rockhold. So I think it's a fight that GSP could potentially win. I say he fights Whitaker, drops all those middleweight belts in an ideal world if he wins, then drops to 70, fights Woodley for his old belt in his last fight. And if he wins that, then he keeps that belt, gives that one back, and you know, get the fuck out of here, GSP. Right off into the sunset.
That leaves middleweight real messy, but no matter what happens, it leaves middleweight messy, right? Because let's say that he doesn't want to do 185 again. It's too much weight, he gassed, whatever. So then he vacates. Well, who does Bobby Knuckles fight then?
Luke.
Right, to unify a title that doesn't mean shit to begin with?
What about Mike?
Fuck that, yes.
I'm just wondering, I don't know.
No, I mean, no way, but the Mike, you can't get, fuck that. He just lost to fucking Georges. Georges has to stay here, goddammit. He can't dip out on.
Let me tell you what about Mike Bisping. He already made it a bridge too far. The fact that he ever wore gold is the most unlikely story in UFC history as far as I'm concerned.
You know what's hilarious? If we could have went back like 2 years ago and you'd have said, which one will happen first? Michael Bisping becomes the middleweight champion of the UFC or Donald Trump becomes president of the United States? I would have been fucking torn.
Honestly, I would have said, what kind of fiction book are you guys reading? And
No shit.
So let's not say anything fucking outlandish tonight, because apparently reality is real receptive to some crazy bullshit over the last 24 months.
No fucking shit, man.
Yeah, shit, you telling me?
So what's he do though? What's he do? What's he gonna do? Is he gonna stay at middleweight or is he dropping to welter?
You know, honestly, I think this was his tune-up fight. I think that he comes back at welterweight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know, and everyone's talking about, oh, it's in his contract. He has to fight Whitaker. He has to defend or unify the belts. Yeah, look, you can put whatever you want in a contract. Contracts are meant to be fucking broken, is the saying, right? So, I think they throw him in there against Tyron Woodley. Play the Woodley's a bad guy angle, kind of like a Mayweather-ish type of character, and promote it that way. And you'll get
now,
plenty of people to watch.
What do you guys think about that fight? Like, I don't really have a whole lot of love for Tyron as the champion, but you got to admit the guy is pretty athletic. He's pretty frightening. Besides his 2 fights with Wonder Boy, his fights are pretty exciting. I mean, at any moment, you know that it's all done. You know, when he took on Robbie Lawler in an instant, when he takes on most fighters, it is all done in an instant. You know what I mean? And so it's one of those things. GSP has been less than durable in the past, Matt Serra. And so that's really interesting. With Tyron Woodley's takedown defense and GSP's takedown heavy offense, the fact that Tyron can definitely thunderstrike you with one punch, I think that would be a pretty damn exciting fight. But I just don't think it would draw a lot of numbers.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it's definitely listen. After fucking the way GSP fought Michael Bisping, all bets are off. He's fucking Jean-Claude Van Damme now. I wouldn't put nothing past the fucking guy. Maybe he comes out and fucking. I mean, Nate Marquardt did some Mortal Kombat shit on Tyron Woodley. If he can, surely old Georges can. But you're right. That was going to be my question to you guys. Because listen, let's be fucking honest. At this point in the game, WME cares about the dollars. So fuck what we're talking about. Which one of these fights makes more money? George versus Bobby Knuckles or George versus Tyron Woodley? Which does more pay-per-view buys?
Dude, I've got to be honest. I think it's just George.
It don't matter.
I mean, yeah, I think it is because Canada's going to tune in, right? Canada hasn't given a flying fuck about MMA for 4 years.
They left with George.
Right. And all of a sudden, Canada's back on the scene, right? Prior to Conor McGregor, didn't George St. Pierre have the largest event in history, UFC 100 or something like that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. George was the king of everything. Contrary to what Chael Sonnen spews out there, George was the king of everything before Conor.
Yeah, no, GSP was it. Now, what about that bullshit they're throwing around? You were talking about it right now. People were talking about GSP against Conor. Is that even possible?
I think if this was right, that would probably, I mean, if you're just talking about ridiculous freak show money fight, that's the biggest money fight that's left in the UFC.
Right.
You have those guys meet at 170, but that's the problem, right? Is that McGregor, he's already bitching about fighting Nate Diaz, who was 4 times his size, or what did he say, something crazy? So if he loses to GSP, he's just going to explain it away that GSP was like fighting Godzilla.
For sure.
Oh, yeah, he's like, Nate was 3 times my size. Fuck yourself.
Three times his size. So he weighed, 450 pounds.
Seriously.
I do think, before we wrap this up, I do think they end up going with the Tyron Woodley fight. I think Tyron will sell it more than Bobby Knuckles will. I don't know what that does to middleweight, but I do think that they're going to have George drop down and fight Tyron Woodley. Because at least Tyron will talk a little smack. He'll go on Ariel's show, and he'll do more for the fight than fucking Robert Whitaker will. So
what I thought was funny as hell is Tyron immediately, he says, "Fuck it, I'm going up to 185, and I'm gonna go get George St. Pierre." Did you see Weidman look down at Tyron? What do you mean you're going up to 185? And it did look like a giant looking at a midget. Forget how big these 185ers are compared to the 170 guys. It looked like Weidman was like, "Yeah, come on up to 185. I'd love to see you up there. I haven't been doing so good, but I'm pretty sure I'd smack you right out of the cage."
Yeah, he ain't going up to 80 nothing.
Yeah. So real quick before we talk about TJ and Cody, Jose has thrown his hat into the Holloway sweepstakes. Says UFC, I'm ready for the title with Hollywood. Give me my rematch. I'm not. I don't want to see it. I don't care.
Learn his lesson the last time he got his ass beat.
Yeah, I mean that wasn't. And listen, man, I'd almost rather see Jose get a rematch with Conor than Max. Max won a fight against Jose. They fought for a while, and Max came out on top. Like, I need to at least see one performance from Jose before I'm even remotely interested in that.
No, I'm with you on that. All right, talk about TJ and Cody. TJ finishes. I mean, that was a good fight, really. Cody drops TJ in the first round at the very end. 5 more seconds, if I meant that would have been over, maybe. And then then for TJ to drop him with that right hook right to the chin. Drops him, finishes him on the ground, and then that fucking like angry ass yell. Pretty much put his lips on fucking Cody's face and screamed his ass off. That was just like, I don't know. TJ as champ again, Aaron. What's your thoughts?
My thought is this: when you get out of your game plan, you never look as good as you do when you're in your game plan. Cody looked slick against Cruz because he fought cool and calm. And he was the consummate counter striker, right? Let Cruz do all of his dancing and juking and jiving. And when you get your chance, you counter strike. And he made Cruz look like an idiot. And he looked great. So then you get with TJ Dillashaw, and you're going to go ahead like a slugger, Deontay Wilder in a slugfest, just do a duke 'em out. Why would you do that? Especially after the first round where you almost finished it. It's a 5-round fight. Be calm, man. You're the champion. Let him come to you. Look for your opportunity to knock him out. But that's not what he did. He got caught up in the emotion. And it was a slugfest back and forth. And as we've all seen time and time again, when it gets to be a fight like that, like a John Lineker fight, it's usually the cat who tags the other one first. It's not skill. It wasn't amazing. He whiffed on his shot. TJ landed his. Lights out. Easy peasy, right? So whatever. I don't really get into the whole snake thing. I think that TJ Dillashaw is a fighter that wanted to realize that he couldn't do it with Uriah Faber and the alpha male team, which no fucking surprise. Those goddamn guys stay exactly the same for their entire career. How much do we want to see Uriah Faber start doing something different? How much have we wanted to see a lot of those guys progress and do something different? But when you stay at the same gym with the same coaches for a decade, your look is always going to be the same. Kind of like Diego Sanchez looks exactly the same 58 years later after The Ultimate Fighter as he does. The guy still can't throw a decent kick, right? But we still tune in to fight him because he's a nut job. I think that TJ Dillashaw figured, you know what? They got me this far, but this is how I look. When Bang Ludwig does this with me and works on my footwork, I'm getting better. I have a different look. I'm doing these things. Then shocked the world when he took the title the first time against
Hennon.
Barao, right?
Barao.
And not just like luckily beat him, beat the shit out of him, right? So at that point, didn't everybody want to see more TJ Dillashaw like that?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So how's that going to happen? Stick with the coach that got you there. So yeah, I'm happy to see him champ again, and it sets up a good rematch.
Yeah, I never understood this whole thought, like the alpha male thought, our mindset. Stay the same, gym. You want to grow, you got to move. I think, as far as the MMA goes. All right. And then of course the probably the biggest surprise of the whole card was Rose dropping Joanna and finishing her by knockout. I mean, fuck that. By the way, I was happy. I was marking the fuck out when that happened. But it was really cool to see and everything. But it's weird to see. I mean, social media is full of idiots. To be honest with you, most people are cool. There's a lot of idiots though that were giving Joanna shit, like saying like, "Oh, she's bullshit. It was a fake. It's another Ronda Rousey." I don't agree with that. I think she just got caught. You know what I mean, I think she's as good as she's ever been. I think she just got caught by Rose. With that, what was it like a left hook and dropped her? But it's weird to see that kind of shit going against Joanna, right, Fred?
People are fucking retarded, man. I love this whole narrative that everything's a big fucking coup of some kind. Ronda was never sold as something that she wasn't, man. She was the baddest bitch on earth. She did have phenomenal judo and grappling. She had noted striking deficiencies that eventually got exposed. I mean, she is who we thought she was, man. People are Joanna wasn't that good. Of course she is. Rose is just very good too. Any championship fight, that shit can happen. Rose is a striker. Fuck, you seen what she did to the Karate Hottie?
Yeah.
They don't just call her the Karate Hottie for nothing. The bitch can strike, and Rose thunderstruck her. Rose can strike. Like, that shit wasn't no fluke. Joanna's still a beast. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing to take away from her. Shit just happened. Like Aaron said on the last fight.
It's another good case. It's another good case of a rematch, right?
Right. They could fight 10 times and it could go. Joanna could have caught her with that punch. This is the fucking way it goes. It's the fucking fight game, man. This is MMA.
I think what a lot of casuals have a hard time wrapping their minds around is that when you look at Rose, you don't see a powerful fighter, right? But the proof is in the pudding. When she hits somebody, their knees buckle. So just like certain guys are heavy-handed, she's just accurate that way, or God made her with the right tendon attachments where she just hits with that many more, square, or those foot-pounds per pressure, or whatever it was, or chalk it up to a slow start for Joanna. But most of the people who are comparing Joanna Jacek, or however you say her name, to Ronda Rousey, not the same. She didn't disappear after the loss. Now, she is full of shit. She did tap out, and she said she wasn't going to cry about it. Crying about it. But that's neither here nor there. It sets up a great rematch, and it's a great, young champion. We love to see that 24, 25 years old. She had a real cool head, said she just wanted to be
He just went roboto on us. What the fuck?
Yep.
All right.
What? You're stuttering and freezing, young man.
Hey, you still there?
Nope.
Oh, all right. Fred, what about the thought? There's a lot of people out there thinking that Joanna might have, mind fucked herself out of the game or out of the fight with the whole boogie woman thing. They're like, boogie woman, and all that shit. She came in super emotional. Rose, meanwhile, was fucking like a cold-blooded killer, saying that the Lord's Prayer at the fake weigh-ins, just cold shit. But this whole boogie woman thing, do you think Joanna was so emotional she might have fucked herself?
I mean, listen, there's two ways to look at it, right? Like, yeah, maybe she was talking a lot of shit. It was a lot of boogie woman talk going on, but she's usually like that. No, like she kind of does this with most of her fight. Ain't she like this with all of her opponents? Fucking gets in their face and talks shit. And maybe she got it to a bit of a fever pitch this go around, but like, she always kind of talks shit and gets very in her opponent's face. I don't think she was that much different this time around. I don't know, man. I feel like happens. We all feel like we have the point to some excuse or something. Something had to be wrong with Joanna. Maybe she just got socked in her face. These are little gloves and Thug wanted it bad. Maybe she just that punch came quick. She covered distance fast. Maybe she just kind of surprised Joanna. And before Joanna knew it, she was on her fucking beating the shit out of her. Shit happens, man.
Yeah, that's the thing about MMA. It shit happens. That's like the theme.
Right. Like there ain't no fucking, big crazy thing. Maybe Joanna just got caught slipping. It's that simple.
Yeah, and we'll probably see the rematch next. Don't get it twisted. I know Joanna was talking about her big surprise was how she won the belt and tied the record or whatever. She was going to move up to 125 and win that belt and be a 2-division champion. That was her thoughts. Now
the most hilarious thing is that she thought that was a surprise. I got something to tell you guys. Bitch, we know. We been heard that you're going up to 25. Like, we know that the Bullet's supposed to meet you there, Shevchenko, and we already know all about it. Like, we know. But see, this is why you fucking, goddamn it, don't fucking get ahead of yourself. What the fuck? Like, we ain't gonna get none of that shit now.
We got about 20 minutes left here, so let's talk real quick. Someone was asking about it. Wonder Boy against Darren Till. First, the UFC, not UFC, but people were reporting it as they're working on this. They're moving UFC Orlando. That whole card's getting moved over to. What up, man? Wow, it's
I don't know, dude. Every time I try to do one of these shows, my internet fucks up. I don't know.
All right. Well, we're talking about Wonder Boy Darren Till. People were reporting it as like they're working on it. The UFC Orlando got moved over to UFC London, so that would Darren. And in fact, they're talking about rumor is that they're trying to move that UFC London card to Liverpool, so Darren Till can fight Wonder Boy there. And then Wonder Boy's dad comes down and says, yeah, we're not interested in that fight. So it was all this like hoopla for nothing. But let's say the fight actually, I mean, do you actually want to see the fight happen? Because I'm down for that fight. I want to see that fight. Darren Till Wonder Boy would be great.
Yeah. I'm super interested in Darren Till all of a sudden, mostly because he dismantled Cerrone like he did.
Yeah.
That fight could be fireworks because, as we've seen, if Wonder Boy doesn't have time to stay at distance and set up all of his martial arts kind of stuff, his game isn't as good. And I don't think Darren Till gives two fucks about staying away from him.
Yeah. What are you thinking there, Fred?
I mean, listen, man, do I like this fight? Sure. I love this fight. Stylistically, it's a fantastic fight. I love it right now. Meh. I don't know. I think Wonder Boy might be a bit, I don't know. I don't want to say that Wonder Boy is maybe too big of a name, because Till's coming off of a fucking first round destruction over Donald Cerrone, so it almost seems like nobody's too big of a name for him now. But before that fight, Darren Till was very much in a different category. Wonder Boy's fought for the title twice and is coming off a win against a fucking absolute top contender. Listen, I love that fight, but for me personally, I still like Darren Till versus Colby Covington. I still feel like they're kind of on the same. I feel like Wonder Boy's on that Robbie Lawler level. He's right there for the title. So don't get me wrong. Darren Till Wonder Boy is a fucking fantastic fight. But I almost feel like that's either, that's a number one contender fight for the belt or some shit, or for the belt in general. Just not just yet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think I get what you're saying, is that this could actually be really bad for Till, because sometimes you have these prospects who take the next big step. You know what I mean? Who was I thinking of there? Oh, like a Mickey Gall, right? There's a lot of hype behind him, but the guys that he fought, not so good. And we've all seen Donald Cerrone, even though he's one of my favorites, crumble under pressure, right? Sure. He doesn't like pressure, so if a guy comes out fast and pressures him, sometimes he gets the shit beat out of him by guys that surprise you. And so what we might see with this Darren Till, if he fights somebody like Wonder Boy, is that it looks like a pro versus an amateur, and then all of a sudden we have this contender who gets deflated just like that.
Right. I mean, as it might not be, but it's hard to. Wonder Boy's just a big step up.
For all of me, I would love to see Darren Till actually hospitalize Colby Covington, because I've had just about enough of that fucking prick.
Yeah. And listen, I like that fight because I love that fight because, listen, Colby Covington, as much as you don't like the little prick, he could take Darren Till down and wear him out. But if he don't, Lord, Darren Till would fuck Colby Covington up if Colby got stuck on the feet with him.
Yeah, he been deep shit. Oh shit, is Jesse back? Holy shit, he's alive. You all right?
Yeah, so far so good.
All right, Jesus, listen, we're on fucking quick time here, so we got to make this quick. Darren Till versus Wonder Boy or Darren Till versus Colby Covington? Which one do you like more?
What are we talking in regards to? Because if we're looking for a number one contender, I think the Wonder Boy sounds better. But if we're just looking for a firefight, Covington sounds way better.
Which fight do you think suits Darren Till more at this point in his career?
The Covington fight, I think that's a more winnable fight. I think with Wonder Boy, you'll get the same thing with Masvidal. He'll just stay at range, outpoint him, and win another decision. Call out
right, and now
have another boring fight.
Jesse just said number one contender fight. Now we're not even talking about Darren Till in a number one contender spot. So even if he did beat Wonder Boy, that doesn't put him as number one contender for anything. What does he have in the UFC? 4 fights? 3 fights?
Three or four.
3 or 4, but I mean, it's also the wins that he's got. I mean, he's got Cowboy, who was at number 7 when he beat him. I mean, if you're looking at the people that he's fighting, I mean, right now we're in that era of like, if you kind of have like a little bit of pop behind you, you beat one guy with like a good number on their, on their name, people are going to be talking about you for a title shot. So
Yeah, I guess I'm just nostalgic for the good old days when you had to work your way up the rankings.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
remember
weird.
those days?
Hey, we're only like a couple years removed from that, by the way. It hasn't been that long.
It seems like a long time because now you know why Colby Covington is telling Brazil to go suck a cock and all of that is that it's the Conor McGregor effect, right? You turn yourself into a bad guy, you say some outrageous shit, and you talk your way into fights, just like Kevin Lee talking his way into the fight that he just had with Tony Ferguson. He had no legitimate reason to be in that fight that early in his career, but he talked his way into it, and that's very much what Colby Covington is doing right now. In my opinion, he has got a ceiling, and he's just about reached it. So, yeah, I'd like to see Darren Till just smash him out.
That'd be great. All right, let's talk about this weekend, man. UFC Norfolk. This is a Saturday card. Main event: Dustin Poirier against Anthony Pettis. To me, Anthony Pettis is like he's like finally he's up and down 145, 155, 145, 155. Finally, he's back to lightweight. I think Dustin Poirier is he's way dangerous, and I think he's gonna end up finishing Anthony Pettis. How do you see this one going, Aaron?
I think that Dustin Poirier at some point had a lot more potential than he does now. After he got embarrassed by the Conor McGregor fight and then has had less than stellar performances, I don't have as much confidence in him as I do right now with Anthony Pettis coming back from adversity. He's starting to look better. Both of these guys were rising stars, one a champ, one almost a champ, or could have been, and both of them have had major setbacks. So this is kind of like a fight against two guys that have lost confidence. So really, I'm like a pick'em, Vegas pick'em on this one. Whoever comes in and has more confidence that night. So I don't even have a favorite in this one. I like them both.
Yeah, Fred.
Yeah, man, this is weird. This is a fight where I kind of feel like Dustin Poirier is, the quintessential overachiever, and Anthony Pettis is kind of the quintessential underachiever. Like, Dustin Poirier could very well and probably will win this fight off of determination and grit and being more prepared. Anthony Pettis could probably win this fight within the first 2 minutes of it. If he just, Anthony Pettis is one of the most talented guys to ever compete in MMA, just based off of his ability to do shit. Like, that fucking run off the cage kick that he landed off Benson, that wasn't just a fluke. That dude is an athletic phenom, man. The kicks and the punches and his ground game. When he's on, Anthony Pettis is they put that kid on a Wheaties box for a reason. I just think that mentally he's not there sometimes for whatever reason. So, if Anthony Pettis is mentally there and he's there properly, I think he'll fuck Dustin Poirier up. I think he could very well beat anybody if he comes in with his head screwed on right. But if he's fucking, if shit don't go well for him, he does buckle under pressure a little bit too. I'm going with Anthony Pettis. So,
okay.
But
are they doing the brother fight again? Isn't Sergio Pettis fighting somebody interesting on this card?
No, he's fighting at 218.
It's close, but not the same. Card.
Yeah, he's fighting at 218. He's fighting Cejudo.
Henry Cejudo, right? And then this isn't the one with Dodson and
yes, it is.
Moraes, is that this?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Dodson's this weekend?
Yeah.
That's a sleeper on this card.
Oh yeah, Dodson. Dodson Moraes is good.
Yeah, not for me. I've been waiting for him to come from wherever the hell he was, the Ultimate League of Losers, and come over to the UFC to see if he's actually as good as he was.
Yeah.
And that's a really, really good fight, because arguably without Mighty Mouse, I'd say John Dodson would have held the title.
100%. 100%. What about Matt Brown, Diego Sanchez?
I don't give a fuck.
I knew someone was going to say that.
Is it just me, or does this seem like one of the biggest mismatches in UFC history? Is Matt Brown not going to beat the dog piss out of Diego Sanchez? Like, is this a thing?
Okay, let's be honest. When's the last time Matt Brown looked good?
Fuck, he looked good in the Cerrone fight up until he ate that fucking shin. I mean, when's the last time he got treated like a shit, low key? I mean,
I don't know.
Diego Sanchez? What the fuck?
I will tell you what, he might be a staple. They're always like, oh, an UFC veteran, a staple of the roster. Diego Sanchez hasn't been worth a shit ever.
Dude, Diego Sanchez was on the first motherfucking season of The Ultimate Fighter. Just let that sink in. Can we? Do we get a list of the characters that was on the first season?
What's more crazy than that is I think the son of a bitch is still in his 30s.
Yeah, he's not old.
36.
Yeah.
When the fuck did he start fighting? When he was 9?
He's early as shit.
Something like that.
He's the thing. He's one of those guys that when he's got into the game, he was high level because there wasn't a lot of high level guys in. Now the game kind of passed him by.
Yeah. Okay. So like Fred said, let this sink in. Who were the coaches for the first season of The Ultimate Fighter?
Yeah. Oh shit!
It was fucking Matt Hughes. Right? It was Matt Hughes and Rich fucking Franklin.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
And those cocksuckers were still active on the roster. You're talking about the middleweight and the welterweight champion of the world. That's how long ago it was. Matt Hughes and Rich Franklin.
Fuck Stephan Bonner.
God damn, that was a long time ago.
I mean, Josh Koscheck, like 90% of those guys are curtains now. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Bobby Southworth, come on, what the fuck?
And Joey, I can't see the comments. We're kind of running on the clock here, but John Smith says he gives his blood in action, talking about Diego Sanchez. And then Priya Rose says he did win the first season, but it makes me sad. He's still doing that win one, lose one thing.
Yeah, he's never gotten any better. And don't we have to suffer through another fucking Clay Guida fight this weekend?
Clay Guida, Joe Lozon in the first fight on the main card.
Fuck me, man. Some of these guys, I don't know how some guys get cut and some guys stick like glue in the UFC forever. I got to be honest. I know that he gives it and he never quits and shit like that. But aren't we sick of seeing Clay Guida be a fucking B fighter, never really get the job done, and then do push-ups and run around the cage after he gets his ass beat? That shit's getting old.
Yeah. So again, that's this weekend on FS. It's an FS1 card, right? Yeah, FS1. Everything's on FS1. There's no more baseball, so there shouldn't be a problem with that unless there's like a NASCAR race that goes along or some shit. All right, so just do a little quick check of the headlines here before we go. You guys have anything else you want to talk about while I do that?
Did you talk about combates happening on Saturday?
Oh, they have the tournament, the 8-man tournament.
And for my buddy Fred Kirby here, you don't have to watch it in Spanish. They have it if you have the channel NBC Sports, the same channel that that other fight promotion was on before. What is it now? The Fighters League or whatever it's called?
Professional Fighters League? PFL?
Yeah, the PFL.
What is that? Used to be World Series of Fighting?
Yeah. Race F was like, we got to change the name of this shit. It's not working.
So they just rebranded?
Yeah, that's all they did. Rebrand. Kept the same fucking people, just rebranded.
That's funny.
Well, just remember, this upcoming year is when they're going to start doing where they pay the fighters a salary, and they're going to be fighting like for a monthly thing for like $100,000 or something. And I think at the end of the year, someone gets like $1 million or something.
Wait, Combates is doing that?
No, the Professional Fighter League.
Where the fuck are they getting that money? They were hurting for money for a long time.
Nah, but they had a bunch of super rich investors that just came in that are going to burn their money like morons.
Yeah, then they're going to get pissed off, and that shit's going to sink in the middle of the year.
How could people make this much money and then be that stupid? You have got to know that getting into an MMA company is the dumbest business venture in the fucking world, the PFL. There you go, boys. Sink another bill into that. Let me know how that turns out for you. You fucking twat.
The Fertitas cashed out for crying out loud.
And I'll tell you what, all the time that we're talking about World Series of Fighting and rebranding and combates and all of this stuff, Scott Coker's sitting there like a Bond villain, rubbing his hands together, getting the old fucking roster up and becoming a contender over at Bellator.
I thought they've been talking. What's that?
By the way, for Bellator, they have an app that you can download on your phone, and you can watch the event live, actually live, not on delay.
There's got to be
So-
something. No, there's got to be a catch to that. What's the catch?
Nothing. You just got to sign in through whatever service you use.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I unplugged, bro. I don't have
They're
cable.
just now doing that for all you pricks
Yeah.
on the West Coast.
Fucking morons. I'm telling you.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, Bellator.
Think about how that's going to make them a number 2 entity if they can't get that right for this amount of time. So stupid.
Yeah. All right, boys. So let's check out the headlines. Holly Holm's agent says that the fight that they wanted, Chris Cyborg at UFC 219, is dead. I would think that losing Cruz might change that a little bit. Might incite, gives a little bit of incentive to pay a little more. Yeah, that's kind of it.
I think they're fucking just tired of Cyborg's bullshit at this point.
Dude,
They're like,
I'm tired of
"Fuck you."
Cyborg's bullshit.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think that's the point. Like, I think if I went down this panel and said, "Are you tired of Cyborg's bullshit?" We'd all be like, "Yep, yep." And I think the UFC's getting that general consensus. They're like, "You know what, Cyborg? You're not really worth the fucking trouble you're fucking bringing upon us. Go back to Invicta or go to fucking Brazil and find a man for all of me. But we're about to just push on without you. Fuck it. Talking about you want more money. Girl, bye."
Yeah, there you go. And real quick, I know John Smith said good show, but we should have had a longer live show. This week was crazy. I agree, man, but we were kind of time crunched with a couple things, or I was anyway. So if nothing else, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. Appreciate you guys tuning in. That's Aaron Robbins. He don't give a fuck if you follow him or not, if I remember correctly. Yeah, you see all the Twitters down here. Follow everybody. Appreciate that. Shout out to spicespros.com. Shout out to Represent. Go to repthewarriors.com. Get yourself some good gear and help us out. Jesse hey Jesse, you there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. Did you found a good Starbucks spot now?
Yeah, pretty much.
There you
It's
go.
in the ghetto, so
It's in what?
It's in the ghettos. That's where all the good Wi-Fi spots are.
Well, the reason I'm asking is I can hear the fucking sirens in the background.
Yeah.
Like I said, they're looking for you, dog. They're looking for you. All right, ladies and gentlemen. For myself, Aaron, Fred, Jesse, the whole team, Nick Pilecki, everybody. Thanks for watching. Y'all have a good night and good night, Wilshire.
All right. Thanks for having me back, guys. I appreciate it.
Right. Come on, Google Hangouts. Don't be fucking lame.
Yeah, take that fucking live sticker off before we
Yeah, I'm
start the
waiting.
fucking talking crazy about people. I didn't learn my lesson like that, Jack.
It's still on there.
God bless old English's soul. He came out and was like, "You bloody know we heard what you said at the end of that, right?" It's like, fuck, nobody didn't know.
It's still live too. Hold up. What the?
I know. I'm paying close attention.
Yo, what the? There we go. I failed to stop the broadcast. We try again. That's never happened. I've had a hard time starting broadcast. All right, let's try this again. All right, stop.